What is up, guys? For this video we're going to be lowering the Dakota. I have a slight issue with the bed cap being on this thing now, and it is that the back end of the truck sits about half an inch lower than the front. I figured this is a great opportunity to go ahead and install half of the Junkyard lowering kit that I bought earlier in the year that I found on some truck turned up at a junkyard in the area with the full Belltech lowering kit on it. So we're going to be installing the knuckles and then putting larger lowering blocks in the back, since the back end currently sits half an inch lower than the front, and the back end already has 2-inch blocks in it. These spindles drop the front end 2 inches, which will make the front end 1.5 inches lower than the back, and then I can put lowering blocks that are an extra inch. We'll lower it an extra inch, so we'll be half an inch higher in the back than the front, which is pretty much perfect, and then I'll have at least half of the lowering kit done, and I can do the other half later, and we can get this thing sitting even lower in the future if I think it needs to be done. The rest of the kit I have is to drop the back end by 4 inches, and even if I were to do a 4-inch drop in the back end would end up sitting lower than the front again, even with the drop spindles up front. So I may have to figure something out, maybe get some 1-inch lowering springs if they exist, or see if there's any junkyard springs I can pick up off of other random trucks to try and mix and match and get a good combo that'll make things sit how I want it. We're gonna go ahead and get working on the front first. It should be pretty easy. I removed these off of the junkyard truck in probably 5 minutes per knuckle. So you just gotta undo tie rod, upper and lower ball joint, and then pull the brakes and the hub off, and that is it. The thing comes off. I do want to clean this thing up, both of these, clean all the crud off of them, and since I'm reusing all the other suspension stuff that's on the truck, I'm not replacing tie rods or ball joints. I need to make sure I don't damage them when I'm taking stuff apart, and I also want to go ahead and inspect them, since this is going to be a good chance to do that. And I also have to make sure that I clean everything before I put it all back together. Things could come loose and they could cause all kinds of horrible damage. So I got to make sure everything's clean when I put it back together. My alignment's probably going to be off a little bit, but these are Belltech, so their quality control is really good on this stuff. They make great products, so I don't think if my alignment is off, it's probably because the factory stuff wasn't quite right rather than the Belltech stuff not being quite right. So I'm going to go ahead and get the front of the truck jacked up, pop my wheels off, and we're going to start tearing the suspension apart. Alright, I got these cleaned up pretty well. It looks like somebody painted them a couple times. It's like primer or something, because they're silver and like white and black and stuff. All the rust and scale is pretty well cleaned off of them. All the surfaces for all the mounting stuff for the brakes and the ball joints is cleaned up. And I took wheel cleaner and took them to the car wash actually and hosed them off, because $2 I get like 5 minutes to run the water thing there. So figured I would do that, hose them off really good, and then brought them back, dried them, and then wiped them down. So those are clean, those brackets are clean, so all the only things I'll have to really clean up is some of the bearing stuff, and then the surfaces for the ball joints left to be cleaned up on the truck. So I'm going to set you guys up, and we're just going to time-lapse a teardown of the driver's side, and then after this we'll go ahead and work on getting the new lowering blocks put on the back. So there you go, the Belltech knuckle is on this side. Basically, I chose not to time-lapse it just because, I mean, it's the same thing as the teardown process except in reverse. The most difficult part was just getting the cotter pins out, hammering the ball joints free, because these look like they are probably the original ball joints that went to this truck, and they're all in really good shape. I just realized I was really zoomed in for all those clips, so hopefully that wasn't super annoying to watch. But one thing I do have for you guys is when you're getting the upper and lower ball joints put back in to try and put the nuts back on, first put the lower ball joint in and get it as tight as you can with a 3/8" ratchet, and then jack the lower control arm up as high as you can. Obviously you don't want to go too high because you'll end up picking the truck way up off your jack stands. And then take a scissor jack, like this little thing here, or a little bottle jack, sit it on your upper control arm and jack it up into the wheel well and push the upper control arm down as far as possible. That way you can kind of get the upper ball joint to sort of pinch into place. That way it makes it a lot easier to get the nut to go on. If you look at like where the top of the rotor is compared to the top of the upper control arm where the little lip is. We'll come over here. It's going to be kind of dark over here. Try to get sort of the same angle on it. You can see the height difference here. That's about it's a 2-inch drop. So it moves the spindle up higher, which makes the truck sit further down. The advantage to drop spindles also is you don't have to change your shocks out or anything, or worry about bottoming your shocks out. It doesn't affect the geometry of your suspension at all on like lowering springs or anything. So technically, in a perfect world, you could install drop spindles and your alignment wouldn't be affected at all, and the overall drivability of the vehicle wouldn't be affected at all. You'd just be a little bit more likely to rub if you go super low. That's enough rambling. I'm gonna finish getting the other side done, which I haven't even started yet, of course, and then we're gonna let it down, I guess, see where it sits, and start working in the back and just putting the new lowering blocks in, and then we'll see how this thing sits with the Junkyard lowering kit. So you got both sides done and the wheels put back on. And just look at where the wheel is sitting without there even being any weight. We're gonna go ahead, pick it up, get the stands out of it, and set it down. Oops. Here we go. Let's see if I can do this without slamming it down on the ground. Goes. It's still going down. Holy crap. That went down a lot more than I expected. It looks amazing like that. Wonder if I can go lower. Maybe some lowering springs in the future. This is definitely not like stance boy fitment or anything, but this is respectable for sure, especially for a pickup truck. That is wild. I didn't think that the 2-inch lowering would make that big of a difference. It's got a rake to it now. It won't have that once I get the blocks in the back of it. I'm even more excited to get the blocks in the back of it now, just because of how sick that looks up front. And also, this is what the factory knuckles look like compared to the Belltechs. They're like 2-piece. Kind of weird going on. I beat the absolute crap out of those to get them off. I mean, that's a $50 invested in this front drop, and I got that good of a look, and the suspension should still be very good. This is the first lowered Dakota I've had. I've leveled my old green one. I leveled by dropping the back, but I never dropped the front on it. The front springs were kind of saggy on it, but they didn't sit this low, that's for sure. I wonder what it's going to be like sitting in it now. It's going to be weird. Anyway, I'm going to quit talking. We're going to go get this back end done, get it dropped an inch, and then I will probably get it outside, let you guys see the whole truck sitting low, and I haven't really had it out in the daylight with the bed cap on it yet, so this is exciting, guys. I'm so stoked on this. Well, there you go, guys. I got the back end lowered with the 3-inch blocks. I had to go to O'Reilly and get some of those like ride effects U-bolts, because I had cut the ones that were on it because they were way too long for the 2-inchers and hung real low, and you can kind of see them down there. They're still pretty big, but I'll just leave them as they are. Decided not to do the drop reveal with the back end since I jack it up by the axle to drop it anyway. It wasn't really going to make much of a difference because you'd be able to see where it's going to sit. That is a lot different up front especially. And we got the cap on it. Definitely looks pretty good. I just got to get the 5-lug swap done so I can get the other end keys up front, or get the some good tires on the privates and run them on all 4 corners. That looks so much better. I can definitely go lower. I do want to go and get the 2-inch drop springs to bring this down pretty much all the way closed. But the 2-inch drop springs are for the V8, so I don't think it's going to go down a whole 2 inches, especially considering these springs that are in it have probably sunk a little bit with age. And then I can get rid of the lowering blocks in the back completely and put the actual leaf spring relocation brackets in. Once the front end is sitting lower, I can do that on the back and get rid of the blocks, or just run like 1 inches or something, whatever it takes to level it out, make the back end sit as low as the front. This looks really good, and now when I go to do tie rods and ball joints and stuff, the front end should come apart a lot easier, and I won't have as big of a mess to clean up either. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I'm like really tired. You can see the 2-liter of Mountain Dew sitting up there on the dashboard. You know it's been a long night when the 2-liter of Mountain Dew gets busted out, but we got it done. Truck looks good. I rolled it around in the driveway and didn't feel any unsettling noises. The alignment felt alright. The wheel was still straight, so props to Belltech for making good quality products that match the alignment of the factory stuff. Got a little bit of wind right now, I apologize for that, but that's going to be the end of the video, guys. I want to thank you very much for watching. I hope you'll hit that like button and subscribe and come back for more, and I will see you guys later.